Right now, I'm worried sick about my friends and clients and their families who are from Afghanistan. What the US did when it pulled out is it left behind so many who are vulnerable and who are in danger. And it never adequately addressed the safety of those who had really risked their lives to help the US military. Today, I want to outline what I see are the 4 things that the United States should immediately do to help the Afghan people. If you don't know me, my name is Josh Goldstein. I'm an immigration lawyer in Los Angeles, and I focus closely on helping people whose immigration cases are delayed or stuck. Throughout the last maybe 2 years, I've been working very closely with the Afghan community to help people whose visas are delayed by the US Embassy in Kabul. We filed countless lawsuits against the embassy to help people whose visas are just sitting there. I'll give you an example of a case that I worked on that shows you the problem. There's a guy named Mohammed in California. He contacted me. He worked as a translator for US forces in Afghanistan. He applied for a special immigrant visa. He, his wife, his 4 children. They went to the consulate in Kabul in 2016, and the embassy approved his visa application. They approved the visa applications for his 4 children, but his wife, they told her visa was going to be stuck in administrative processing. Mohammed went to California, to Fremont, along with his 4 children. He assumed that his wife would just get her visa approved shortly thereafter and be able to join the family. But it didn't, and weeks went by. Weeks turned to months. Months turned to years. He contacted me at the end of 2019. That visa was still delayed. I took on his case pro bono, working for free. I filed a lawsuit against the embassy in Kabul. I said, hey, what's going on? Why is this visa stuck? Instead of processing the visa, the State Department delayed things even further. They dragged things on. They kept asking for extensions in court. There was a hearing, and the attorney went to the hearing and didn't have any useful information about the status of the visa. The judge set up another hearing and said, listen, I want you to come to this hearing, and I want you to tell us exactly what's going on with this visa. Shortly thereafter, his wife's visa was approved. What this story illustrates is that the State Department never acted with any urgency to help families in Afghanistan who had worked for the United States. There's no reason why this person's wife was stuck behind, except for negligence or a lack of attention. There's no reason for that. So today, I want to get to the 4 things that I think the United States should be doing to help the Afghan people when it comes to immigration. The first and most urgent thing is they should use the US military and diplomacy to evacuate those in danger in Afghanistan. They need to act swiftly and decisively. It's not enough to have flights leaving from the airport if people can't get to the airport. That needs to be achieved through military force and diplomacy and through all means necessary. The safety of people who have risked their lives to help us is a moral obligation that we all bear. This is something that we as an American people have to demand. There's nothing more important than fulfilling our obligation to the Afghan people. Number 2, when it comes to special immigrant visas, this is a visa that's available to people who have helped the US military, often as translators. We need to make it easier for people to apply. Instead of requiring extensive documentation that may not be available and requiring years of service to the military, let's make it a more generous standard, and let's make it easier for people to apply. The translators and interpreters who help the US military, they risked their lives to do that, and their families are now in danger. We owe them an obligation to help them out, and let's get rid of these extensive requirements for this visa application. Third, anyone from Afghanistan who is in the United States right now should be granted temporary protective status. That's a status that would allow people to live legally in the United States. That's not the end of our obligation to the Afghan people, but at least for those who are in the United States, people who've been recently paroled in, they should immediately be granted some form of temporary legal status. Finally, and this is an important one, humanitarian parole should be granted generously for Afghans who are seeking entry into the United States. We have an obligation to accept as many refugees from Afghanistan as we possibly can right now. These people trusted the United States. They believed in us. They relied on us. And now We owe it to them to do this. My criticism of the State Department and of the United States is not directed towards Biden. Of course, Biden and his administration deserve a lot of blame for the way that this evacuation and the war was ended without any help for those seeking visas. But the same was true when Trump was president. Those who assisted our military, they never got visas in any better way when Trump was president. So the foot dragging continued through both administrations. This war was going on through Obama and Bush and so on. We need to stand up and do what's right. Those are the 4 changes. That's what I recommend we do. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.